into effect in July. Italy will ban them by 2020. Countries moving towards bans include Wales, India, and Ireland. In Hawaii, plastic shopping bags are illegal. Styrofoam takeout containers will be banned in 2 years. This was a community effort. It did not start with the government. It started with the people, who then brought it to the government, fought the opposition, and won. Other states have begun to reevaluate the ways they use plastic bags as well. Other U.S. cities with restrictions on plastic bags include Austin, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. Bangladesh and Rwanda have banned plastic bags. China has banned free plastic bags. Ireland began taxing them in 2002, and now they've reduced their consumption of plastic bags by 90%. Other countries moving towards bans or restriction on plastic bags include India, Israel, Canada, Botswana, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Taiwan, and Singapore. This is a picture I took of a Walmart in Hawaii. You can see that there are no plastic bags. This is an excellent example of how human intervention is a good thing. All grocery stores either supply paper bags or sell reusable shopping bags. This is one of the landfills on Maui. In the landfill, there was a row of trees that the wind would blow plastic bags against. They called it the bag wall. Within 3 months of the ban going into effect, all those bags were gone. Conservation efforts are making a difference too. Even small populations can bounce back from destruction. An excellent example is the Hawaiian green turtle population. In 1973, there were only 35 nesting females. But by 2012, there were 2,000 nesting females. That doesn't even count the males. Hawksbills are making a comeback too. A population in the Solomon Islands has doubled in the last 20 years. The Hawaiian population has not significantly recovered yet, but we're still working and there is hope. This image shows major sea turtle nesting sites around the globe. The green spots show an increase in the number of sea turtle nests in the last 10 years. Notice that there are way more green spots than red spots. In short, what you do affects the local environment, which affects the river systems, which affect the ocean, which affect the turtles, which also affect the ocean and other animals. The other animals affect the turtles and the ocean, and it all comes back to you. The Hawaiians respect their land and ocean and take care of them. I hope we can do the same. And now, I'm going to show you one last video that I took. I love this video. The very last hawksbill hatchlings of the season going into the water. Why can't I push play? Oh yeah, now we're going to hear from Taylor Bridges. So he talks about plastic hawksbills.
How's this? Good? Hello, my name is Taylor Bridges. I want to start by stating that I have not always lived my life the way that I do now. I didn't start recycling until just 5 years ago. Before then, I didn't spend much time thinking about my trash, how my waste would affect the environment, or where it would end up. Now, however, trash consumes my thoughts. It's important that you all leave here today knowing that our individual actions matter. We can make everyday choices that are better for the environment and better for everyone who inhabits this wonderful world around us. The thought that I'm just one person, so what I do doesn't matter, doesn't hold up. If you multiply what one individual does times all of us, we can make a huge impact, and each of us has the power to choose whether that impact is positive or negative. To quote the Environmental Protection Agency, the average individual in the U.S. generates over 4 pounds of waste daily. In 2014, our individual waste resulted in a combination of 258 million tons of waste. For those of you concerned about climate change, our country's recycling rate is only at 34.6% nationwide. Recovering recycling from our waste stream is critical. Diverting waste from landfills results in a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. In fact, the 89 million tons that were recycled and composted in 2014 resulted in a reduction of 181 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent. This is comparable to the annual emissions of over 39 million passenger cars in 1 year. Here is a beautiful picture of a mandala created by Container Recycling Institute at Hermosa Beach in 2016. This mandala represents the average beverage container consumptions of the average American individual. In just 1 year, Americans use and discard 822 water bottles, beer bottles, cans, juice jugs, etc. So what happens to the majority of these beverage containers in the US? Well, if you consider again that our country's recycling rate is at a meager 34%, most of them make their way to our landfills or streams or oceans. This is Podicus the whale. He is an art installation that the Sky Ocean Rescue displayed in Scotland. He is 30 feet long and is built from a 1/4 ton of plastic. He represents the amount of plastic that reaches our oceans each second.
Wait a second. You're saying a 1/4 ton of plastic is going into the ocean each second?
Yes.
Repeat that. Say a 1/4 ton is going.
A 1/4 ton of plastic is reaching our ocean each second.
That's significant.
This creative and depressing display, with the help of Sky News and Greenpeace, motivated the world's largest beverage company, Coca-Cola, to endorse a container deposit law for Scotland. Container deposit laws, which I will be referring to as CDLs from here on out, play a critical role in diverting waste from roadways, streams, and landfills. CDLs ensure recycling and reduction of litter. In Arkansas, where we don't have a CDL, we spend over $5 million annually picking up trash from our highways. So, what is a container deposit law? The Container Recycling Institute defines a container deposit law as a law that requires a minimal refundable deposit on beverage containers. This ensures a high rate of recycling and reuse. An important fact to note is that beverage container deposits are not a new concept. Oddly enough, the very industry that spends millions fighting them today is the same industry that originally introduced the concept.
Stop and ask if anybody ever picked up bottles to
Did anybody ever collect their bottles to be returned as a deposit? So see, you know what I'm talking about. So, before disposable metal beverage cans were introduced in the 1930s, beer and soda, as some of you know, were consumed in refillable glass bottles that were washed and reused dozens of times. A Wisconsin senator named Gaylord Nelson ignited the environmental movement after he initiated the first Earth Day in 1970. As environmental awareness swept across the nation, so did the phrase reduce, reuse, recycle. Remember, the order is important. In 1971, the first container deposit law, or CDL, was enacted in Oregon. In its first year, mind you, this was 1971, Oregon saw a savings of $660,000 in landfilling, hauling, and trash pickup. What would $660,000 be in today's currency? From 1971 to 1986, 9 more states enacted container deposit laws. Hawaii is the only state to be able to successfully pass a container deposit law in the 21st century. Considering the benefits of a container deposit law, this is really quite baffling. The beverage and grocery industries have spent large sums of money to thwart a magnitude of attempts to pass CDLs across the United States. For instance, in New York, the New York Public Interest Research Group found that opponents of CDL campaigns spent over $1.2 million lobbying against it from 2002 to 2003. So why should we push for CDLs if there's such major money opposing them? Well, let's start by noting that from 2000 to 2010, 1.5 trillion individual bottles and cans were trashed. Over these 10 years, 2.5 quadrillion tons of energy were consumed to make new replacement containers. These stats may be 7 years old, but if you consider that our recycling rates have plateaued and our consumption rates have only risen, the new numbers would only represent a higher number of trashed containers. CDLs provide recycling end users with high-quality recyclable material. The containers are kept separate from other recycling, which results in a low contamination rate and a high marketability. For example, CDL, when glass is recycled through container deposit laws, there's a successful recycling rate of 98%, while only 40% is successfully recycled via single-stream methods. CDLs encourage everyone to recycle. According to the Pew Research Group, only 4 out of 10 rural residents have access to recycling. A CDL would encourage rural residents that don't already recycle to do so. According to the Container Recycling Institute, every new CDL means less marine debris and other litter. It increases jobs at redemption centers as well as increasing high-quality scrap for manufacturers. CDLs increase recycling rates in general. The 11 states that have a CDL in the United States represent 28% of the total population, and they recycle 46% of all the beverage containers recycled. CDLs reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Beverage containers represent 6% of municipal solid waste, which doesn't seem like much. However, by recycling beverage containers, a potential 1/5 of greenhouse gas emissions could be reduced annually. Throwing away items that could be recycled is not simply disposing of a can or a bottle. It's throwing away money and energy. Recycling means recovering the energy embedded in these cans and bottles that already exist. It bypasses the energy needed to mine raw materials. In 2010, $2.9 billion worth of beverage containers were landfilled, which is a 65% loss in potential revenue. So, how do bottle bills work? As defined by the Container Recycling Institute, when a retailer buys beverages from a distributor, a deposit is paid to the distributor for each can or bottle that's purchased. The consumer pays the deposit to the retailer when buying the beverage. When the consumer returns the empty beverage container for redemption, that deposit is refunded to them. So, how did Hawaii successfully pass their container deposit law? Randy Chan, an active member of Hawaii Sierra Club, was involved with Hawaii's successful passage of a CDL. He shared how Hawaii got their CDL passed. The president of the Sierra Club at the time asked for support from members statewide. They gained press attention by highlighting the millions of beverage containers that were being thrown away. Members made a multitude of phone calls to their state representatives, sent numerous faxes, and sent over 1,000 pictures depicting the bottles and cans that were littering their beaches, parks, and roadways. The CDL supporters noted the fact that a deposit would incentivize recycling while discouraging litter. Convincing the local beverage container producers to support the law was the biggest obstacle. To overcome this, supporters of the bill told the beverage industry that if they didn't support the bill, they would lose them as customers. We consumers have much more power than we realize or utilize. We can affect decisions made by corporations by standing up, voicing our concerns, and choosing carefully where we spend our dollars. Hawaii CDL gave retailers 2.5 years to comply. On January 1st, in 2005, Hawaii enacted their container deposit law. Listen to this. Before the CDL, Hawaii's recycling was at a low 0%, and now it averages at 72% annually. To make it even more sweet, Hawaii saw a 50% reduction in litter in just the first 3 years. To conclude, container deposit laws, when put into effect, make an incredible impact. CDLs provide incentive to recycle and reduce litter. This translates to high-quality materials provided to end users thanks to the separation. CDLs result in a reduction of greenhouse gases and energy savings by bypassing the use of raw material, and they preserve our beloved natural landscapes. This presentation just skims the surface. I'm not an expert, I'm just beginning to learn about all this. Throughout the past month, I've had the pleasure of meeting with Arkansas Representative Greg Letting and Joyce Held, President of the Washington County League of Women Voters. These two influential people gave me insight on how to pass laws here in Arkansas. This is my last semester of college, so I won't be able to pursue this at this time. But if you're interested in learning more, I'd be more than happy to share the information that I've gathered. As a side, I want to note that we here in Arkansas can help other states pass or keep their CDLs. Susan Collins, the president of the Container Recycling Institute, suggests we comment, share, and post on other CDL campaigns. Hawaii is currently fighting to keep and expand their CDL, while Texas is attempting to pass one of their own. You can influence these campaigns by keeping up with them via social media and helping to increase their outreach. I would like to end by thanking Container Recycling Institute for the information that has been shared here with you today. This is a nonprofit organization that goes to great lengths to fight for deposit systems, not only in the United States, but around the world. Also, I'd like to say that the big picture is much larger than CDLs or reducing litter, waste, and emissions. It's about taking care of the one thing that provides us life. We have a few minutes for questions. Anybody have a question they'd like to ask?
Is there any group active in Arkansas right now? Is there anything going on at all?
Not currently.
So they have tried to pass a bottle bill before, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And
Yes.
why didn't it pass?
I'm not sure why Arkansas's didn't pass.
I bet Louise knows.
A lot of people, how do I say this? I'm trying to learn to be diplomatic. Fran and I have been hanging out together too long. Well, tonight when you go to sleep, one of the things I want you to think about is who will lose if we reuse? There are a lot of people that want you to think that it's okay to consume as much as you want as long as you recycle, everything's okay. The recycling industry started with volunteers. It was taken over by corporations and politicians, and it has devolved. And so now, instead of reduce, reuse, the motto is consume, recycle. The beverage industry puts a lot of money into stopping bottle bills. But as consumers, we have a lot of power. How we choose to use our dollars is one thing, but if anybody's interested in a group effort, you've got an evaluation sheet in your program to fill out, and we can hold another meeting to see if there's a core group that would like to try to take it on. And as Taylor said, it's an uphill battle in Arkansas trying to stop plastic bags and bottle and put in container deposit laws, but we can be helpful to other states and at least get a conversation going here. We want to close here pretty quickly so that you can visit with the individual speakers. Blue has something she wants passed out, so I just want to remind you to please fill out your evaluation, tear off your little number, and put it up here so we can do a drawing for a $10 gift certificate to Arcegas. But I want to let Blue close because she wants to, well, I'll just let you say what you want to say. Thank you all, and oh, we got one more thing in the back.
Where can we get a program?
We ran out. We thought we expected 30 people tonight. You all multiplied like fish. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, I don't really have anything specific to say, but I do have these postcards that have solutions on the back, and I'd like to pass them out. And you can put them on your fridge or just keep them around because they're just easy steps that really will make big change if we all can take part in them. So I'm just gonna, I guess I can do a take one, pass around thing. Yeah, okay.
Thank you all.
This is one of the art pieces, and by a student, so, yeah.
Are the sacks of the newspaper content recyclable along with the
Okay, well, I'm gonna do this.